guys, Gunner here from Buff Nerf Repeat, and Hearthstone has just released its puzzle free-to-play PvE content for the Boomsday project. And I thought, you know what, I've had a little go on my Asia account. Some of the puzzles are a bit tricky, so I thought record a little video, go through each section stage by stage, hopefully help some people out, and at the same time, you know, maybe brush up on some of my own skills, because some of them did take me a while to get, and there's so many of them that I've probably forgot some of the lethals, so you're gonna have to bear with me if it takes me a time. But hopefully we breeze through it and the video is enjoyable. So just gonna start up Puzzle Lab, and welcome to Boom Labs, as you can see. And I think we're going to start with the lethal ones at the top here.
Just visit my recruiter.
Just visit my recruiter. Let's go. So the opening ones are not that difficult, but later on it really does get quite tricky. So we'll just go through them one by one, and hopefully it can, like I said, help you out. So obviously lethal puzzles means you're trying to kill the enemy hero, so this one's very simple. Deadly Poison doesn't need a combo, but Cold Blood does. And here comes the next one. Obviously Mana Worm gets buffed through spells. So nice and simple. Ice Lance obviously does more than Second Frostbolt.
I've seen this system before. It can't be that bad. Get in there, fight, dragon.
Just gonna buff up our boar here. And attack twice. Pretty simple. So far so good. These ones are very simple. Everybody should be able to do these ones without too much problem. Just gonna make the obvious trades on board here. And then these are just gonna go in and attack. Doesn't really matter where you put them as long as they're next to the flame tongue, and they get that buff.
Oh, I shouldn't have signed an ink.
Right, this one was the first one that I had to think about for more than half a second. So we're going to play both of these Rabid Worgens, and we're going to use our Whirlwind. And then we'll kill that Golem with the with these dudes, just so they take damage on them too. And Hero Power and Shield Slam our own Frothing for the extra little bit of damage we need for lethal. Okay, so we just kill off this dude, which will clear the way for the taunts. Leroy goes face, and we just reincarnate Leroy for the lethal.
If you're having trouble, experiment.
Okay, Anomaly comes down, which means that we can then kill the taunt. Coin up here, and Mana Worm gets the extra attack, and we'll play the Emissary, and then Fireball smash his face, and the extra damage, the extra buff on the Mana Worm is lethal. Okay, there's a few ways of doing this one. I feel like the easiest way is just to hero power, redo your hero power again, and arcane shot face. You can also do a play with the cube on the clockwork automation, but yeah, nice easy way. And this one's just obviously just a fun one. Just get to watch the animations here, and hopefully your PC's good enough.
I think that will do. I'm going to go lie down.
That's the first section of bosses down.
I've been working on some
And then we go over to the next one. And here we are with the second boss.
Versus Myra.
time to put this necreum to good use.
Okay, so silencing a frozen minion here means that that minion can attack as long as it's due to attack that turn. So then everything can attack with the Tundra Rhino, and it's lethal. Okay, just going to
Don't scare me.
trade the taunts into each other. And then a play that was seen quite often in Hearthstone before this moved, Savannah's moved to Wild. Make sure you attack with it first, and then you're just going to def it. And then we steal the King Crush, and King Crush has charge, so we can attack straight away. And then just Mind Blast and Smite for lethal. Okay, so the Wisp is just going to go in here so that this trades places. And we'll play the Blood Razor. And the Whirlwind effect will make it trade places again. And then we go in a rage on the Frothing. And then we can just kill it. It's a pretty easy introduction to that mechanic. We're going to be seeing a lot of that card later on in the challenges. Okay, we're just going to start off with the Blood Mage Faunos here and the Frostbolt to kill the taunt. And then we're just going to ping the Berserker. And with 0 mana, we can use it on the Berserker again, and it gets a damage here from the Blood Mage Faunos. And that's lethal. Okay, so just gonna backstab here to clear the taunt. And these go face. Now because this is silenced, we don't get the spell damage and we need that, so we shadow step it. And we can replay it for free. And we'll play a Leper Gnome here and we'll backstab that for the extra 2 damage to face. This becomes 4 damage, and this becomes 2 damage with the no longer silent spell damage on this minion. couple of ways to do this puzzle, but this is by far the easiest way, I think. We just buff up the Grom here and attack into the Abomination. And then we just execute this guy to make sure that the cleave hits these two guys. And 13 to the face for lethal.
I haven't felt in a while.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is obviously make sure we DK to get the 4 Horseman hero power. And with that we need to refresh our mana. So battery pack does that. Then we're going to hero power to get the first of our horsemen back and play the Blackwall Pixie. Doesn't matter where we play it, we hero power again. And we Beardo. Battery pack to refresh, and that's a spell, so it triggers our hero power refresh. We refresh, and then we're just going to have to kill out a minion here, so we just kill this minion. It's another spell, so it refreshes our hero power, and we hero power for the final horseman for lethal.
Was merely a setback.
Tricky, but well done.
Tricky, but well done. Okay, go on to Little Stormy.
It's about to explode.
Sounds like a shit YouTube rapper.
Why don't you give her some assistance?
Uther versus Little Stormy.
Are you here to see Electra? Isn't she the best?
So the 1/1 goes in here because it will die to the Wild Pyromancer anyway, and then we play Pyromancer Consecrate. It clears all the taunts and Tyrion can go face. And then we're going to play their Bluegill and that's going to go face. And then equality with the Pyromancer on board will obviously kill our Tyrion, giving us the 5 attack weapon. This goes face for lethal.
Splashy, splashy, splashy.
Okay, so Sonya, after a friendly minion dies, you get a 1/1 copy of it in your hand that costs 1. So we're going to be using this card to our advantage. We're going to start off with 2 hoppers. And you want to backstab the low cost one obviously and eviscerate the higher cost one. Then we can coin out 2 more hoppers. And then we shadow step the cheaper one obviously. Shadow step means we can play it out for nothing. Give them charge. And they all plow in for lethal. Okay, this was one of my favourite ones because it's kind of do see a priest around that does things like this, or especially in the past, but it's nice to actually play a lethal that I've actually played in standard before, well, near enough. Sometimes even stealing my opponent's Doomsayers and killing them with their own Doomsayers, silenced Doomsayers, so it's really, really good. Radiant obviously comes down first to reduce spell cost, and then we're going to inner fire the Soul Priest. And the reason we're going to do that is so we can steal it. So we change attack and minion around. And then circle. We're going to play circle now because if it's on our side of the board then it'll kill itself. So we don't want to do that. Then we're going to do our Potion of Madness. And we're going to buff it up twice. And then change its attack to be equal its health. And that's 20. Okay, this one's quite tricky. You have to make sure you get the sequencing right. I think there's a couple of ways to do it. It's just basically all about making your shield slam as big as possible, and then that damage obviously goes onto the minion and kills the hero at the same time. So you're going to start off here, and then you want to play a Dry Whiskered Armourer, and it gives you armor for each creature on board. So obviously we've summoned 3 extras, so we get some additional armor here. Now we're just going to draw as much armor as possible, and when we take damage here we draw extra armor. So we'll Whirlwind, clear these minions, which gives us additional armor. And then we're going to put a charge on our Rovar here. And we'll run it in there for the additional bit of damage. And you should see our armor goes all the way up to 17 here, absolutely. And then the shield slam is worth 17. And that's lethal. Okay, we're just gonna kill off some creatures here. Basically, you want to get the health down as much as possible, but enough to get a good heal in, basically. So I feel like I've messed this one up, actually. Might have to set this one. Because I remember I lightning bolted my own minion. Yeah. Yeah, so that ain't enough, is it? See how much we are short of here. So it's 2 short, right? Alright, let's do it again. Yeah, I told you I was going to mess up on a couple of them, right? So what exactly did I do? Let's try to remember. I killed one, which destroyed everything else, and then I obviously buffed up these guys. Oh, I know what I did. I killed this guy, and then I lightning bolted this guy. And then that is lethal. So just a small sequencing error. I think there's another way to do this as well. My friends did this in a different way, but this way worked for me. One over lethal, in fact. I thought this one was a little bit strange, and I'll explain why once it's happening. So, fairly obvious when you actually play it out of hand, but a little bit strange when you're actually trying to work it out. And if we use the Blood's Ica here on the Bittertide Hydra, you'll notice that it actually takes additional damage when it's already dead, which was not an interaction that I was familiar with. See, there's one Wild Pyromancer, so it takes it down to 0. And the other one takes it down to -1, almost, there. Which also does the free damage, which was strange for me. Okay, multiple ways of doing this one too. This was the easiest way for me. The Beckoner of Evil, you get that out now because it's got the free health. You're going to Spirit Lash to do additional damage. And Shadow Madness on the... what's this one guy called? Cult Sorceress. I've not seen that for ages. It used to obviously be a staple card back in the day. Now we just heal everything and get that as additional buffs. And second Spirit Lash.
That was a mistake.
And then the Cocoon should come down for lethal. But I didn't attack, did I? So I fucked up. So yeah, so 17 and then the 3. So we got to do it again. Sequencing error.
Charge? I'm in.
Okay, let's go again. So Beckoner of Evil and the first Spirit Lash comes down. And then obviously Shadow Madness, and then make sure we attack. That was the mistake. And then we want to heal up. Second Spirit Lash and Cthulhu for lethal. At least you know I'm not reading it off of a guide, because I wouldn't make these errors if I were. And there go the 17 shots to the face. Brap, brap.
You did it! Let me introduce you to Electra. She's, a bit of a tempest right now.
Okay, so the little Stormy is done and dusted. And we're on to the 4th boss. Things start getting a little bit tricky now.
Gul'dan versus Electra. This power is overwhelming.
So the Skater Bot is just going to go here to give this one 1 health. Oh, sorry, 111. That's pretty important. And then you're just going to trade into the River Crocodilus to put it down to 2 health. That's important later on too. Then we trade in again to move it back to our side. And Black Wind Technician is next, and that's important that we play it in this order so it gets the buff, followed by the Shield Bearer. And this is the most important thing, which is an easy mistake to make. You want to coin first, because you want to make sure that your Twilight Drake only has 3 health. And that's so you go 1, 2, 3 with the Defile. And then everything goes in a nice order to make sure you kill this dude, whatever his name is. Okay, this one's the Reynad lethal. It's basically in a tournament, Reynad had a chance to get lethal by kill command in his own high main, and he spotted it in the nick of time, and it's goes down in Hearthstone Folklore as one of the best lethal spots in the game. Kill command to face only does 5, but these buffed with the Timberwolf do 6, so it's exactly lethal. This one's pretty easy once you work out the order in. Just want to drop a Mortal Coil on the Goblin Bomb to put it to 1 health. And then you want to play your Defile. And then Hellfire will clear off all those taunts, but leave you exactly 3 Doom Guards for the lethal. Okay, so this is all about Flame Tongue positioning. So you want to put your Flame Tongue totem here. And the Taunt totem is going into the Divine Shield first and foremost. And the Leper Gnome is going to run in and hopefully finish him off. This guy's going to go into here. And then we're going to play... I can't remember what I did now. I think I killed this guy, if I'm not mistaken. For the extra 3 damage. Yep, and then a rock bite for lethal. Yep, I thought I lost it for a second then. Okay, whenever there's a Tundra Rhino on board on the opposition side and you've got a Faceless Manipulator, you can almost guarantee you're going to start with that play. Then we're going to go Bloodfen Raptor with Emerald Crean. And these two are just going to kill the Abomination. And then we play the Timberwolf now. We don't want him dying to the Abomination, so we play him now. And then everything runs in for exact lethal. I think there's multiple ways to do this one too. I had a discussion with some friends who found various ways to do this one, but you're just going to start off with the backstab. Backstab your own dude. This dude's damaged, so it's fairly obvious the backstab was going to go here. And then we can just coin out the Razorfen Petal and use one of them just to take this down to 4 health so that the Eviscerate finishes it off, and we'll just keep playing spells here. And then we'll get the 2 coins back from the dragon. And we can go 1, 2, and Shadow Strike is actually affects undamaged characters, not minions. People often make this mistake. I remember back in the day playing Malagos Rogue, and with Malagos Rogue against some classes, especially druids, you needed like every point of damage. So you'd start off, you wouldn't use dagger basically on the druid unless you were taking off armor, and then you could Shadow Strike the druid's face at 30 for that extra damage. And obviously the Petal goes face for the extra damage and buff. And that's 24 for lethal.
Ah, phew. Thank you. I'm feeling a little better now.
I have to fire you the way I fired the other applicants. From a cannon.
Oh, didn't press click, sorry about that. Okay, so now we move on to the boss. So every wing, if you want to call it that, will have a boss at the bottom here. So this is now the lethal, and it's the lethal wing boss, and it's Dr. Boom. So we'll do this. Now things get really tricky. These ones do take a while, and expect a couple of mistakes here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it all first time. We'll see. Can't even remember him.
Versus Dr. Boom. I ask you, why only collide particles? We could collide so many things.
Okay, so I'm playing the Super Soldier here, which reminds me of another card. If you're familiar with Hearthstone, you know what I'm talking about. Fiery War Axe reduces the cost of these two, so they both can come down, and they're going to go into Mr. Sludge Belcher here. And then we'll run Grim Patron into the 1-2. Then we're going to do some old school Whirlwind action. Buffing up our Frothing Berserker nicely. And we'll give a slam to this guy just for some additional damage and another Grim Patron. And then everything's just going to go smash him in the face. And that should be lethal. Exactly lethal. Okay, give me a second. I think there's a couple ways to do this one too. I think I've started with Wild Pyromancer here and buffed it with the tentacles, I believe, to make that move places. And then circle to make it move back, but go back up in health. And I'm going to recharge here. Holy Smite with the AoE effect to move it both sides. And then the Violet Teacher, this is going to basically put out loads of little dudes that's going to help tick over our Defile. So we're going to do Defile twice here. We just do it both together here. And you'll see the interaction here, obviously, with the Defiles giving you spells that give you minions off of the Violet Teacher. Interacting with the Wild Pyro. And, yeah, we get the kill. So super cool interaction there. Very complicated. Right, this is a mad one as well. This is all about overdrawing your opponent. So I think there's two ways of doing this. Maybe not. Can't remember. I've done it one way. I don't know if I completed the other way. Anyway, let's start. So we want to shield up our Northshire Cleric. Forgot her name there. And then we want a Lab Recruiter. This is a row card on our Cleric. And play the Pyromancer. And we just want to put the Lab Recruiter's health down a little bit. And then we want to get our mana back. This dies so we don't overdraw. It's pretty important. And then we draw a couple of cards here. Super important not to overdraw here. That's why we killed that other card. And we're going to play the 3 clerics because we want to give him the 3 clerics. So we're going to bind in heal on any minion. Just to do the AoE effect that's going to obviously damage them all. And then we're going to swap boards with our opponent. So that now he gets all of these damaged minions that are ultimately going to draw cards to his death. So Treachery is going to kill off our remaining Northshire Cleric. There's no board space for him, so it just kills it off. And then Circle of Healing, all of these damaged minions, is going to give him a hell of a lot of cards. And it should be enough to kill him. It's a long interaction. Go make yourselves a cup of tea. Come back in a couple of minutes. Or 2 cups of tea even. And a bacon sandwich. .61 points over lethal. It's pretty good. And we've got 1 more left, 2 more left. This is the last one. Alright, let's just have a little look. I know we need to put some copies of Northshire Cleric at the top of our deck. Because we've only got 1 card in the deck at the moment. And then we're going to Archer to get that damage and buff up our Archer. It's important to buff these up because when we send them on his side, we want them to stay alive. So then we play the one that we drew. And then we're going to draw the 2 cards that are in our deck. And we're going to play the cleric. And then we're going to battle pack. And swap over boards. We're going to give him all of these cards. And play a wild pyromancer. Treachery on our cleric, sorry. It's going to go over to him, but the wild pyromancer is going to damage everything. So this is what's different to the one previously. Obviously we could damage them before, but this time we're going to damage them when they're on his side after we send them to him. And then the fungal is going to draw 1 round of cards for him, but most importantly buff or heal our pyro back up to 2. And then we're going to heal a minion. We heal one of his minions. And you can see all the fatigue is already starting to kick into place. Pyro goes off again, but we kept everything above 1 health, so it doesn't die, and then we just heal everything with the circle of healing, and that should be lethal. And it's very, very slowly going to tick away. Very, very slowly. I hope I did it right, because I don't want to do this again. I feel like I should edit this in the video. Speed it up a little bit. Jeez. So anyway, I think this is the last boss of this wing. So this was the lethal wing. So there's quite a few puzzles there, ranging from, you know, obvious to mildly difficult, to these ones are ridiculously difficult and require a lot of trial and error. But I really like it. This is the second time I've played through it. I've done a couple of them more than once, but the overall thing is the second time I played through it. And yeah, it's pretty decent. It's, yeah, definitely an enjoyable addition to Hearthstone. Some of the PvE single player content in the past has been a bit lackluster. I've not really enjoyed it. But this one's good, and I believe you get a card back for completing all of it, which I haven't got yet, but hopefully I will in a couple of days' time. And anyway, yeah, that's the lethal wing completed. So tomorrow I will do the mirror wing, and we'll make another video. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and yep, I'll see you for that mirror wing next time. Thanks for watching, and remember, head over to buffnerfrepeat.com. There's a lot of Hearthstone content over there. There's a lot of free-to-play decks, and yeah, just a great gaming website in general. So you're going to love it. Head over there, please, guys. See you next time.